welcome to LaunchLeft Podcast. I'm your host, Rain Phoenix. Today's very special guests are Tune-Yards, and Merrill from Tune-Yards will be launching Esotérica Tropical. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Follow us on all socials at LaunchLeft.
Hi.
Hi.
I've been listening to you lots of the day. So as I do other things, just listening to the podcast.
I love that because that's exactly what I've been doing as well, listening to you and Tune-Yards. Somehow I've heard of you obviously throughout the years, but I'd never really just sat down and listened to your records. And where was I? I'm so excited that now I've been introduced officially, you know?
Thank you.
That
means a lot. It's great to it's actually great. It's great to have people still discover music that was made a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, and I did exactly that. I had already listened to the new record a few weeks ago and love it. But then today I listened to the new record back to back with your first EP in 2009.
Wow.
And they're both, the one word I would just say that would join them both, and they obviously have similar elements, but the main word I want to use is free. Like, there's such freedom in how you make music. It feels like you just follow the muse. You do it your way. And I was dancing around my house a little, I gotta say.
Yay. I think Kathleen said that the biggest honor, more than any award, is somebody dancing around their own house to your music.
Yeah.
It's true.
And it's, I saved that for only a few, but there's so many world music elements to your music, and I love the way your use of drums and percussion in general, even if it's vocal, and the harmonies are just amazing.
Thank you so much. I know you're a musician, and I know that you do this with a lot of musicians, so thanks. That means a lot.
Yeah, I was like, where was I, under a rock for the last 20 years?
I mean, there's only so much a human being can take in these days.
That's part of, this music discovery podcast is my own music discovery.
Yeah, that's why I started DJing a lot too. I mean, a lot of the reason why I started DJing was just that I felt like I wasn't I didn't have it like in my schedule to be listening to music for enjoyment the way that I used to.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you in Oakland or Northern California?
Yeah,
cool.
Oakland. Yeah.
All right.
You can only see blazing sunshine out there, but yes, definitely blazing Oakland sunshine. And there's my little Chihuahua in the background.
Oh, well, maybe my dog will make a little visit. She's on the bed over there.
Oh, what kind?
She's like a Shih Tzu Lhasa muddy thing. I don't know, but she's so adorable.
Yay. And you're in LA?
Yeah.
Cool.
Right now, I just got back from a month of traveling, actually, so.
Where?
East Coast, mostly. Yeah. A little Toronto, but that's technically East Coast, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is that for family stuff or friends or work?
It was a bit of business and pleasure and family and friends, all the above. A lot of transitions and, New York. Like, there was an apartment I loved there that I was part of helping to dissolve finally. That my dear friend had. So that was kind of found a bunch of things from the past in there.
Wow.
But it was good. It was good because I got a couple weeks to be in it again and have the memories and then just let it go.
Yeah.
But yeah. A lot of activity, a lot of work activity, but also a lot of joy. Just travel. I love to travel. What about you? Do you like travel, touring, all that stuff?
Pisces, water sign. Yeah. Keep me rolling.
Is that what that is?
I don't know. I'm sure fire signs also, and probably air signs, like to travel, but I always think, I like changing. I mean, I'm always changing, and so I feel like when you're traveling, you're kind of like, it's an excuse. Like, how could I possibly stay the same because I'm in a different location every night? Yeah, I do, and I also, I've definitely, we toured from 2008, 2009. Before then, I was touring with another band. So like I moved here to Oakland in 2009, and I don't think I was here to form any kind of friends community until, I don't know, 2013 maybe, and then not very much till the pandemic, truly. So yeah, I have a different appreciation for also staying still. Probably having to do with being in my 40s now too. It's harder on the body.
Mhm. Yeah, but I think it's interesting what you said because there's something about, moving continues to remind you that everything changes and that, it's important to always be ready for different things, and
Mhm.
sometimes when I'm stationary for a while, I get really into this sort of rote,
Yeah.
the way I do things and the way
Yeah,
things happen.
totally.
And I really do enjoy traveling for just having all that blown apart.
I
It's like,
know,
"Oh."
as yeah, I know, especially these days, it's like, who am I kidding thinking that I'm in control of anything when really there's, yeah, weather, insane weather, and yeah, like we played in LA, uh, a block from where the curfew zone was, when the downtown protests were at their height, so there's always, I feel like traveling for me these days is that reminder of like, this is what's happening in the world
Mhm,
right now.
mhm,
How am I gonna be with that? Instead of, in a very, yeah, it's very easy, especially now we have a 3-year-old and we have this dog, so, like, and a house, all blessings, and I can't, my 29-year-old self that signed a record deal can't believe that I did this, that I did any of those things. Um, and, I think it's, yeah, it's weirdly strange as maybe as, like, a white, middle-aged cis woman, like, that it's, like, weirdly easy to just be like, all of a sudden, I feel like I'm in the suburbs where I grew up. Yeah, and I think that travel will always be that way to kinda, like, shake me out of that, the dream of that.
mhm, mhm. Speaking of, you mentioned, I think you mentioned record label or something because I noticed that from that first EP till the next record, it wasn't just Tune Yards down below on Apple Music, but it
Mm.
was, 4AD, and you've been
Mm.
with them for ever since. Did you
Yeah.
find that that really was helpful for you as an artist and as a band? Did that really change things?
It totally did, yeah, and I confess, it's like now I feel like I'm getting into what 4AD was known for when it was first 4AD, and being, I think I've just been, like, doubling down on being Gen X lately, which has made me go into, like, music that I wasn't really listening to in the late '80s and '90s, but I don't know, just really wanting to go back there, in many ways to that era. As if we could time travel and do things differently, in 1996 or whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would not be here talking to you if it wasn't for 480. And at the time, I really did not. I mean, maybe that's not true, but at the time, I was very suspicious of labels, of the record industry, of anything really mainstream. And I suppose I still am, but they continue to have this very, very strong ethos about nurturing artists across their careers, and I kind of can't believe how true that's been for us, that they've just been really, really constant. Even as that, some personnel has changed, but there's this, yeah, of kind of solid bedrock in a way that I hear people really truly not have that experience, with record labels, but we have, and I certainly have. And I do think that there have been a lot of growing pains in how to work with that kind of power, because I think when you come up against, I guess, yeah, I was 29 when I got signed to 4AD, and it was actually that first record that I made on my own. they actually agreed to sign that record, and I had released it on cassette tape at first, and then I released it on vinyl on this very small label out of Portland, Oregon, Marriage Records, and 4AD agreed to sign me for the CD rights, which, can you believe that, in 2009? We'll just take it on CD. And so they printed it, and I think Marriage even had the digital rights at that point. Um, so that's all to say that it was kind of this navigation of, I just made this thing in my various bedrooms because I didn't really have a solid home at that point. I made this record on a voice recorder, before we had cell phones that did that, on free software. And I was just like playing these shows by myself and doing, like, thank you for saying free, because I actually didn't want to be on the planet anymore. And so the only thing that made me want to be on the planet was playing music. And so I felt like I have nothing to lose. This is it. This is the air I'm breathing right now. So going into that, with something so personal as my life, because it was 29 years of my being myself that went into that first record. It's very vulnerable to go up against, people who are like really with British accents, Merrill, really excited about your stuff, and I was just like, whoa, this is like a dream, but maybe I'm being taken advantage of. And yeah, it felt very vulnerable. And I absolutely still go in and out of the, like, having that complex of feeling like I'm imposter syndrome, I guess. Feeling like, do I, really? You want my music on your label? Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
and
they do.
I
Yeah,
rejoice.
they do. Now I know they do.
I rejoice for you, because what a cool of all, there's a lot of great indie labels, I'll say, but 4AD, the roster of 4AD is definitely a lot of my teen 20s kind of bands,
Were you throwing muses, Pixies, what?
Cocteau Twins.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely, you can tell they care about music and artists, and of course it's a business, and of course it gets bought and sold and all of that, but somebody there is keeping it real, so that's wonderful, and I rejoice for you, because
thank you.
Your music is so great that it should have, I'm sure they've helped with audience and distribution.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
And that's probably one of the biggest struggles that emerging artists have now, is just like, aside from deciding to become a TikTok maestro, you really have no distribution. Part, you can put it out, but no one's going to hear it. So that's sort of the dream, and especially with a label like that, I'm happy.
Thank you.
I have nothing negative to say about 4AD. I think it's really cool that you're on that.
Nor I. Yeah.
Yeah. In regard to the amount of time that you've been making music since 2009, probably before, but that first EP coming out then until now, what has changed for you, or have you noticed anything that has changed for you as an artist in the landscape?
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything has changed, and I don't know. It's changing so fast that I never know how to, for instance, we'll talk about MaJo, about her project Esotérica Tropical, and it's like, we met probably, what year is it? 2025. We met probably, definitely before the pandemic. So let's say 6 or 7 years ago. And I remember at that point saying, here's what I know about releasing music. And it was completely different, it's completely different certainly now, but post-pandemic is completely different. And so everything. I do feel like I started playing music mostly in Montreal. I was living in Vermont, and I was commuting back and forth to be in a band with my friend Patrick Gregoire, and he kind of introduced me to that like really DIY scene. making your own posters, like, wheat pasting your own posters to the entirety of Saint Laurent Boulevard, bringing people to your shows, like really making your own, we raised money, we earned money from gigs and went to a proper studio, but there was so much of it that was really DIY. And I do think that though that's still happening, and we shouldn't forget that that's still happening. But like you said, the audience, the exposure is, it really is, and I do understand for record labels and people who are distributing music that we live in capitalism. You have to have an incentive to release anybody's music now. So it's hard for people to come out of those DIY scenes and into a wider audience, perhaps. But um, yeah, everything's changed, and yet I still do believe and know that people are making music in small towns, in big towns, in forming their own musical families and communities. So yeah, of course everything's changed, and I hope we all get off Spotify, and I hope that people, like listeners, understand the ecosystem and the need to have this like thriving ecosystem um, of music from the ground up. Um, but time has kind of told us that that doesn't really happen very easily. Yeah. So my overall answer is I don't know, but it definitely has changed.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you had your druthers, would you, and maybe this is exactly what you do, to just make music, just make art, and let other people worry about that? Inevitably, I guess it might leak in, but is that mostly what you try to do, is kind of just do what you're here to do and not worry about, even though you're seeing it change, like not get captured by it? Or
Right. Well, I think I worry up for my soul more than anything.
Mm.
So, in other words, I actually love, like, Tune Yards began as a little like cottage industry. Like I was actually really into, I love pop music, and by which I mean the pop music I grew up with. So
Yeah,
I'm talking the Jacksons, I'm talking,
me too.
like New York radio in the 80s. I'm
Yep.
talking like Debbie Gibson. There's like
Sure. Yeah,
stuff
fine.
that right? Like the
Yeah.
stuff that made me want to be a rock star when I was a kid. Um and so I have this appreciation for that, and I knew, I just had this feeling like I'm going to get on a stage and I'm going to be able to be free in a way that people others might not be, and it's going to awaken something in people. I just had that knowledge that was what I was capable of.
Mm.
And so I knew I was just really into, I mean, I was broke and I was often living on couches and out of, in a barn or in or in a car or whatever. But I was selling my little cassette tapes and I was dubbing them, on my little CD tape dubber thing. And I'd drive from town to town and that would make enough gas money to get to the next town. And there was something that I loved about being a little business.
Mm.
Um, and something that I loved about that connection, like I'm clearly connecting with people because they're giving me money for whatever I just did.
Mm.
And that's probably not hip to say in this like anti-capitalist, era, but I was totally, I was into it. And now I think I I have a different relationship with it, and like you say, we have this total privilege of being currently on a record label that does that, a lot of that promotion for us, but we're still really involved in like the visual aspects. How do you capture people, and how do you say this is actually what I want you to hear in this song? Or I love TikTok for the ways that I can talk people through how I make sound, with my voice, um, or how I'm rehearsing, or how I'm doing these kind of daily aspects of being a musician. And I don't know, I've just always loved the connection part of music. And so that to me means that there is this outreach. I would, Nate Brenner, my partner who writes all this Tune Yours music with me now, I think he could definitely, he's an introverted Taurus. Like he could just be, making music in a basement at most days of his life and be totally satisfied. Although he loves the performance aspect too. But I always, for better or for worse, I'm always looking for these ways to connect with other people. We're all in this room, and so like look at this energy that we have together. Look at what we're creating together.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so important now, as things get actually more difficult, it's more important than ever to like create connection and as much, you know, joy in these fleeting moments that we can have it and
Yeah,
know that we're not alone and people feel that
totally.
they're not alone. So I
Totally.
hear you and I agree. I mean, in music, while I love the studio and I have a duo as well, and my writing partner would also do that. He would happily just stay and kind of he's just all music all the time, but I do, and he does too, but I think I extra love the performance aspect, the idea of, like, being in a room
Mhm.
with people and noticing that you can throw energy around and pull it towards
Mhm.
you and play with it, like,
Mhm.
and that there's a way to, kind of change molecules
Totally.
if you have fun and if you're free. Like,
Right.
if you're honest and free, I think
Yeah.
it would be more difficult to try and think yourself to doing that. It's more
Mm-mm.
just like, "What's here? Let's play with it." I love that.
Yeah.
I love that freedom of live performance. It's because you never
Yeah.
know what's gonna happen. Um
Absolutely. Yeah. For better, for worse. I mean, you always for better, but
Exactly.
like you never,
Yeah,
yes, you never know what what disasters may fall.
I know. I know. Do you all have are you, like, about to embark on a lot of touring for the new record? It just came out in May. It's so good. Go listen to
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. Yeah, we did some shows, some in May and some in June, but we'll do starting to do some summer festivals, and then we'll do a very what's the word for us, long tour in September and September through November, in the States and in Europe. Yeah, and yeah, I feel like that what you're talking about energy. Um, I've been having a a questioning around how much I feel like the songs are saying everything that they need to say, and I used to get up more and be like, especially because we usually fundraise through this organization called Plus One, where we add on $1 to every ticket that we sell, which is, like, not a big deal for our audiences, but we end up raising a bunch of money for different organizations, and I used to get up and kinda, like, I used to preach a little bit, um, and I felt like nobody really wanted no I don't know if
Yeah.
people wanna hear that. Nobody wanted to hear it then, and I think now I'm curious about how since 2016, I've felt the pressure to be more literal with my lyrics and with the art, and I just don't know that yeah, thank you, thumbs down.
Yeah.
It didn't work, man.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
didn't work. It didn't
No.
work.
I don't agree with that. I feel we must be true to ourselves and whatever we're getting beamed, and sometimes it's
Right,
not literal what's happening in the world, but
right.
there is medicine in all kinds of words, and words have been so corrupted that even if you were to be literal, it would
Mhm.
be potentially harmful to some or taken incorrectly or
Mhm.
so,
Right,
it's
or
really
shut
about
people down. Yeah,
yeah, it's like, what's the unlock of whatever words you chose? What kind of intention, what kind of purity came out of you in that moment, that joy of really finding a lyric you were happy with? That's
yeah.
imbued, I think, in the lyric and in the song, and when you perform it live, it comes through and people feel it. I agree that, like, the soapbox version is really, first of all, there's just so much room for misinterpretation
Mhm.
and therefore cause of harm both ways
Mm.
between, artist and audience. I do think it's important to speak out when there's something that, you feel is really right up in front of you and you can make a difference. But
Yeah.
often I feel this sort of, specifically because of the echo chamber of social media, it creates more negativity than good energy towards something changing. It just
Yeah.
creates like a righteous indignation
Hmm.
on every side. Do you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it is a delicate thing, and I know that um I am moved by the artists who can do it, and you can feel their motivation and their intention is
Right.
like they've figured out how to do it. But I don't think it's the responsibility of every artist to then try to either emulate those that can or
Right.
show up in exactly this. I mean, this is just my silly opinion. Who cares? But I'm glad you
Right.
brought it up because obviously I
Yeah.
had feelings about
You
it.
got feelings about it. Somebody's got feelings about it. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, but it's true. I mean, yeah, it's great to hear your feelings about it. 'Cause I've my feelings have really yeah, I mean, I hear you. And I would say the people who do it well, I want them to keep doing it. Like
Yeah,
we're about to open for Ani DeFranco. I need her to keep doing that. She
yeah,
did that for me.
yeah.
She was like, this is what it feels like to be in my body as a female body on this planet right now. And I'm going to tell you all the things that this body feels. And the poet Andrea Gibson, who just
Mm.
passed, they, I think, had this real literal, I'm going to speak to you about what just happened to me on Facebook. You know what I mean? And like, here is what is fucked up about it. And here, I just I don't know many people who speak so directly to in a way that still evokes like, yes, I needed you to talk about what happened to me today, like what cruel things somebody said to me today and how it made me feel. Um, and how I then wrapped my mind around it enough to get my life force back and want to keep living. And I feel like I do that through sound, and it's not through the lyrics all the time. Sometimes, but um I love for me, I grew up on Paul Simon, on Talking Heads, on and on these pop lyrics that, were saying a lot without saying
Yeah.
it literally. And I think that's where I've really found my life as a producer is like it's in the textures, it's in the harmonies, it's in the dissonance, it's in the context of lyrics where you get the meaning.
Mhm.
And I think you're right that I lost trust in that. And of course, like, it felt like 2016, I felt like there was this move to be like, you better choose a side. And then you
Right.
scream really loudly about your side. And I do think that I hear you in that there is harm in that. And I think for what I've found for myself is that as soon as I'm blaming somebody else, I'm not looking inside at
Mhm.
at what's going on. Like, how come I'm yelling at this person when like I'm throwing out 800 plastic bags a week or whatever it is? There are all these things where then I feel like a piece of shit.
Right.
um, and instead of, okay, I'm going to do these actions in my life to feel part of movement and to feel part of healing. And then my music can then I don't put that pressure on my music to do all of that. And I really think that I've found our audiences are these days, they're really ready for us to they're ready for me to take them to another place vocally and performance wise. They're ready to dance and move and shift. And as a friend of mine just said, that this feeling of like coming into a public space these days is fraught for a lot of people, myself included. Like, oh, we haven't done this a lot lately. Um, are we okay? What about masks? What about not masks? What about danger? And to feel this sense of like, okay, for a settling into a feeling of safety and comfort. That's what I want to give people for that short time that we're together.
Yeah, and I'll say it again, I feel like I say it on every episode, but joy, joy, joy,
Yeah.
joy.
Mhm.
We have such fleeting relationships sometimes with joy, and certainly collectively, everything is a
Mhm.
problem and painful and hurts, and we're
Yeah.
unsure and we're untrusting. So when we have these pockets, and I feel that artists, specifically musicians and music, have this opportunity to create in 1 hour, like a
Yeah.
pocket of joy, why
Yeah.
not? Even
Yeah.
if it's really hard, aggressive music, it still
Mhm.
makes the audience that's happy to be there joyful. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that goes a long way. And again, like I echo what you were saying. I want the people who do it so from their truth and heart and to keep speaking out specifically and calling out. However, I'm obviously supportive of that, but I also feel that any pressure put on artists
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
adopt a voice that isn't theirs or add things to their, art
Mhm.
because everyone is saying you should there's
Yeah.
that social media pressure. I think that that's creates more problems and more negativity and not only, the creative's life, but the audience too.
Yeah.
It shows. So,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna always be like joy, 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 advocate for joy. But
Fair.
be aware and and stay open and obviously do the work in the ways that is true for you and that you
Mhm.
can show up authentically.
Yeah.
I think that's so important.
Yeah.
There's nothing like faking it and it just feels gross, or
Totally.
calling it in because you feel obligated and you don't even understand the thing you're calling in quite yet, but you have to,
Right. Yeah, yeah. Right. The performative part of
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Which
I'm
is
I'm an ignoramus though, so welcome
well,
to my day.
I would well, you don't sound like an ignoramus. You can't have been on this earth for I don't know how old you are, but like, we
52 years.
there you go. So like you can't be an ignoramus after 52 years on this planet.
Well, it depends. You could just keep being ignoramusy all the way through. Um,
But I will say that I don't know when we're bringing Maho in, but like that
now.
all of this leads very well
Yeah.
to why
Let's
I
do
love
it.
her music.
Let's bring
Yay!
in Esoterica Tropical.
Yay!
Hello.
Hello! Oh, look at
Ah,
that beauty. We haven't seen each other in so long.
been a minute, huh? It's been a minute.
Too many minutes. Where are you?
I'm in the Oakland Hills.
Okay. The hills. Ooh la la.
Fancy.
Our life.
I'm down here in the flatlands.
Uh-huh.
Well, hi from down here.
Hi.
Hi from LA. MaJo, yes?
Yes, yes,
And Esoterica Tropical is your artist name. Is that right?
yes, yes. MaJo is short for Maria Jose. Yeah.
Maria Jose. Did I say
Uh-huh.
that right? All right.
Yeah, yeah.
I like the abbreviation. MaJo's cool. It's nice to meet you, and your music is so fun. Oh my goodness, just talk about wanting to just dance around like no, I I'm pretty sure my dog is like, "What is wrong with you today?" Between my playlists of both
Yeah.
your music and
Wait, your dog didn't join? Come on now.
No, she was tired.
It's a little booty shaking.
She just gave me a little side eye.
Oh, okay. So,
My dog,
cat vibes. Cat
yeah,
vibes. Is a
cat
good dog.
vibe. My dog just goes. I
I swear.
Uh,
Well, I want to know how you two met and became, I know that Meryl sang on the song that we're gonna share at the end of this episode. So I'm so curious how you all met and give us a fly on the wall. If you guys were hanging out together, what would you talk about?
Shall we talk? It's been
yes,
so long. There's so much to talk about.
yes.
I knew you were going to ask this question, and then I was like, I don't know how we met. I'm all of a sudden, I remember that we were sitting at Farley's together, and you were asking about making this record that now is out in the world. And what I realized that I don't know is how did you make this? How did it happen? You did it.
I did it. I did it because of grants. I did it because I got the Zoo Labs grant in Oakland, and I was able to record in their studio. That's not their studio anymore, but I was like the last recording session at
That's
the
right.
Zoo Labs.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which that makes me even more sad that Zoo Labs does not exist anymore, because that was because you made a phenomenal record from. I mean, we must have just messaged because I really loved your music, and you had some questions for me, and I tried to answer as many as I
Yeah,
could.
right. I was looking for like production help with the album, and you were like, "Oh yeah, I have these people I'm gonna connect you with." So you're very like a connector, like networker, and yeah. And then we stayed in touch. We like email each other and meet up for coffee like every couple of years.
Yeah. It's been
But
too many years.
The Zoo Labs still exist. They just let go of their studio. So now they give cash grants to people,
Oh, that's amazing.
so people can do whatever they want and they don't need to record. And yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, that's good
cool.
to know.
Yeah.
And I when I was listening to the record again today, and just realizing that I also know you as a healer, MaJo, that that you have given me a treatment before, and that is like from the first music of yours that I heard, that it felt like you had that there was healing coming through your music and your voice, and that's just so rare. I don't know. Yeah, I can't think of many people where that's like the that energy is like kind of first before anything. So so you've always been just a special artist.
Yeah, I really started making music just for my own process of healing. Like I've been in the healing path for a long time, because of trauma, because of different health issues, and it's just where I've become strong, and then making music was a sequela of that, where I would do it in a therapeutic way, but also in like what is the world that I want to live in kind of way, and like write about it, or how do I want to feel, and how do I want to be, and how do I want to relate. And then the songs came from this contemplative place of love, of interconnection, reciprocity, interdependence, and also like what is decolonization for me, like from the inside and the outside as a Puerto Rican. So all this kind of became like what wanted to come through, and I started making music very like for myself, and then it organically I just started sharing with everybody. But yeah, like that was also like I'm like a super shy person, so even with performing, I was like, I'm just being a channel. So this is like how I can manage being in front of people. It's really like feeling like things are coming through me, and yeah. So I feel like the song making and songwriting is very like rooted in this like deep listening and being in connection, especially with the natural world and with the environment.
Beautiful.
And the beyond also, like
Yeah.
magic and the stars and the trees
Yeah.
and the birds and the noises.
Merrill, I totally didn't. I wanted to talk about the fact that you've produced your own music, and I wanted to ask both of you how music found you. Like, did you ever have a sort of transcendent first experience with music, even just hearing a song that put on the map for you, oh, this is something that can save me when I can reach out to this?
Yeah, I actually, music came to me very young, because when I was 5 years old, my mom put me in a professional children's choir. So I like grew up like really immersed in all sorts of music, like academic, classical, folkloric. And it was where, other than nature, where I found most solace, because it was like being part of this instrument, like 20 to 30 voices and this wall of sound. And it was like really my most ecstatic, like that was like my first ecstatic experiences, was being part of this choir as a very small child. So
Beautiful. Thank
That
you
makes
for
sense.
sharing.
That's
Totally.
that's why you sing like you do.
that's why I love harmonizing.
Yeah. Ah, my parents, I mean, definitely choirs for sure. Although I think that choirs were later for me a little bit, but I used to get angry because the kids in my school, we would learn rounds, and I was very upset that like it didn't sound the way I want. I knew it was supposed to sound this way, but I was like, those other kids can't sing. And then I would go home and use like the double tape thing where I would do the different parts on the round and overdub myself and then feel that. So maybe that was an early experience of engineering and producing myself
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
But for me, my parents were both musicians. And so, my mom is a pianist. And so she was playing Bach, like, with me on the, as a baby with me crawling underneath the piano, I'm sure. So I think that the sense of music was always soothing and always around me. But I had forgotten about those early, trying to hear my own, like trying to hear myself sound what I wanted it to sound like in my head, and then doing everything I could to figure out how to make that sound happen, which is basically what I still do.
Love it. Well, the song that we'll be playing out is Realismo Magico, and Merrill is featured on that. It is so good. Esotérica Tropical, launched by Tune Yards, aka Merrill Garbus. Thanks, you guys, for being on the show.
So happy to be here. Go listen to Esotérica Tropical, everybody.
Yes.
It will bring you life. It will give you life. It's a gift.
Oh, you all have a wonderful day. I really
Thank you
am
so much.
glad we got to meet.
Yeah, ditto. Thanks
Yes.
so much.
All
Good
right.
to be here. And I'll see you at the coffee shop, right?
Yes.
Okay, see you there.
Yes. See you soon.
Bye, you all.
Bye.
Thanks so
Bye.
much.
Thank you.
¿Qué es más importante? Yo no sé. A veces el amor, a veces la libertad, a veces ser un árbol, a veces escapar, ir contra la corriente o fluir. Mágico, mágico, mágico.
LaunchLeft aims to create an intentional space that highlights and empowers all artists for whom radical creativity is not a choice, but a necessity. LaunchLeft begins with music, but its ultimate aim is to launch left-of-center artists in all creative fields.